Welcome to the third Ultra Trail World Tour. First of the 12 races covering 5 continents kicks off the 2016 season in Hong Kong, China. The Hong Kong 100 has received an increasingly strong field in its short history, as Janet Ng, the director of the event, explains.
Hong Kong is a very special place and it does attract a lot of people to come to the city. Hong Kong 100 has become very competitive event that a lot of international elites want to come and see how they fare with other international runners.
Now we cross to Siu Kun Sang, one of Hong Kong's top competitors.
Running, this is bring me a lot of happiness. Also, running is so simple. You just need shoes, need a backpack, and then you go anywhere. I think Hong Kong 100, the most challenge for me is speed. First part's quite flat, right? It's runnable, people go so fast. For me, a little bit difficult. So this is more challenging part for me.
Hong Kong is a city of contrasts. Just a few kilometres from the city centre's skyscrapers, you quickly find yourself in wild terrain, in a land of real diversity that attracts long-distance runners from all around the world for this opening stage of the Ultra Trail World Tour. Professional and amateur runners start at the same time. The pros are lined up first and set off quickly, while amateur runners start at an easier pace. No matter the level of runner, they all have the same goal in mind, reaching the end of this 100-kilometre race. The tall figure of French runner François Dain leads the pack at this point with 4 of the best runners in his wake. They have to deal with constantly changing terrain and altitude. Back at the beach, Chinese runner Dong Li has taken the lead in the women's race. Hong Kong's coastal paths are dotted with hundreds of stairs. As the climbs increase, the best still manage to run, but many slow down to a walking pace. With this tricky terrain, the men's breakaway group is forced to slow down its pace, while Dong Li is using the conditions to her advantage. She has broken away from the rest of the women's group and is building a strong lead. Amateur runners are now starting to make their way through the muddy tracks. The track will take the runners up to 1,000 metres at its highest point, where the majority of spectators are the resident monkeys. After the hills, the runners arrive at the flatter paved section, allowing them to speed up and maintain a more regular pace. In the men's breakaway group, the Lithuanian Gediminas Grinius has taken the lead by maintaining a steady pace. He is closely followed by François Dain and Yan Longfei. Longfei manages to overtake Grinius and arrives first at the checkpoint. François Dain falls back to third. Dong Li, who has been leading the women's race from the start, arrives at the checkpoint first for a quick refuel. By the time the second-place Spaniard Silvia Trigueros arrives, Dong Li is already long gone. The second part of the race is a lot steeper than the first. Grinius cannot keep up the pace and falls to third place, with Spaniard Pau Capel not far behind, proving a consistent podium threat. François Dain and Yan Longfei have broken away from the rest of the pack and are now in a battle for first place. Dain is in the lead as they climb up the stairs. The finish line is not far now. After the final ascent, Dain is the first to cross the line. Yan Longfei holds on to second place and Grinius takes third.
I've never seen Dong Li. He's too fast for me.
Victory goes to Dong Li in the women's race. A full 25 minutes behind is the Italian Lisa Bozzani, and in third place is Silvia Trigueros. Before the start of the New Zealand leg, we caught up with local women's favourite Ruby Muir.
I don't know exactly when I started running, but it was towards the end of high school, so maybe I was 17 or 18. I ran for lots of different reasons. Sometimes I run because I've got clear goals and it's really satisfying to achieve them and to struggle and improve. And sometimes I run just because it's a nice, fun thing that makes my day better. Trail running and these big ultra races are a wonderful way to see new, beautiful places that I wouldn't have a chance to otherwise.
We now head down to the southern hemisphere. It's a complete change of atmosphere and landscape for the competitors who have registered for the Tarawera Ultramarathon, the 100-kilometre stage run from Abundance Bay on the north side of the island to Rotorua and Kawerau.
I find sometimes at races people get very focused about the race itself and forget to take part in the pre-race activities. Coming to the dinner last night was a very special, a very rich experience.
It's a wet start to stage 2 of the UTWT, but that can't dampen the mood of either the runners or the spectators. After an inspiring haka, where Maori warriors transfer their strength into the runners for good luck, the runners head out into the night. It's still dark as they set off on the 100-kilometre course and lightly drizzling on the 600 competitors. Illuminated by lights and head torches, the athletes make their way through the first few slippery kilometres. The course looks relatively flat, but in reality it has 2,700 metres of elevation. Vajan Armstrong is in the lead, closely followed by 100-kilometre world champion Jonas Bood and Australia's David Byrne. In the women's race, the double defending champion Ruby Muir is leading and seems motivated to become the first woman to achieve a third win in this event. Byrne and Bood are battling it out with just seconds between them at several of the key aid stations. A muscle injury Ruby took into the race has surfaced again and hampers her chances of reaching not only the podium but the finish itself, but valiantly she pushes on.
Just stunning surrounding day.
Even if race leaders don't stop to rest, they always make sure they refuel along the way before tackling the tough second part of the course. At the 76-kilometre mark, favourite Ruby Muir is forced to pull out, letting Fiona Hayvice into first place. Hayvice is closely followed by Melissa Robertson and Fiona Eagles. A little way back from the two frontrunners in the men's race is the steady-paced South African Ryan Sanders.
Yeah, I was in a lot of trouble. At about 60k, I was questioning if I'd finish. And I felt good and then bad. I feel okay now, so hopefully I can hang in.
Byrne is battling through and still on the heels of the Swede as we pick up the other podium hopefuls at one of the last refueling stations.
How's Dave Byrne going? He's fading a little.
Finally, the last water point for Bood, who takes time to hydrate. The Swede can enjoy the last few metres and savour the victory, his first of the Ultra Trail World Tour. It's a real return to form after his 100-kilometre world title win at the end of last season.
I think I managed to keep a good pace, and it felt really, really good the first 60.
22 minutes behind, the Australian David Byrne locks in his second place.
The first 100, I had to do it in New Zealand because it's like the best country on the planet. It's my favourite place, even though I'm Australian.
8 minutes behind Byrne, Ryan Sanders takes third place. Fiona Hayvice wins the women's race by seconds.
Once you know you're in the final stages, you just take the kilometres off.
Closing out second and third for the women's race is Melissa Robertson of Australia and Fiona Eagles of New Zealand. After the cold winds in Hong Kong and the damp drizzle in New Zealand, it's time for runners to head over to the sunshine in the Canary Islands for the next leg of the Ultra Trail World Tour.
No, it's all about, not winning but enjoying the trail. Of course, and the level of competition is much more fun because you can compare yourself with other runners.
The competition is high, and I think it's more great runners this year than last year, so I'm really excited. I want to win.
This is the first stage of the season run on European soil, and the continent's best athletes have saved this early March date in their calendars. The competitors are under starters' orders. Despite the race starting late at night, spectators line the streets to cheer on the runners.
Nerviosa, emocionada y todo lo que se siente antes de empezar una carrera. Son emociones muy encontradas, pero al final ya estoy aquí.
The atmosphere reaches fever pitch as the competitors prepare to set off into the night. The route is tough and goes through many climbs and descents. The 125-kilometre route runs from the north to the south side of the island. At Artenara, one of the first key aid points, it becomes clear that an increasing wind is creating trouble for the runners. By daytime, the weather has become hot and the men's race really starts to kick off at Roque Nublo. After a fall, Aurélien Collet left the door open for Didrik Hermansen and Gediminas Grinius to capitalise, surging to the front of the men's race. G2D2, as he is known on the circuit, also demonstrated fantastic consistency. Spanish runner Pau Capel does his best for the local supporters, followed closely by the Swiss athlete Diego Pazos.
Para mí lo más difícil es la segunda parte. La segunda parte que hay que correr mucho y creo que es mi punto débil. Mientras más duro sea la prueba, para mí es mucho más fácil. Y cuando es correr mucho, la calor, no me gusta tanto, pero bueno, hay que acostumbrarse a todas las climatologías y lo daremos todo, como siempre. El año pasado tuve un bajón en la segunda parte y este año miraremos de no tener el bajón y superar mi tiempo es el objetivo.
Nice to be out on this trail enjoying the beautiful scenery. This is wonderful.
Je veux pas me mettre mal pour ne plus avoir de plaisir. Donc je veux rester dans un tempo où j'ai le temps de tout regarder. En haut, j'ai vu le Tenerife, c'était beau.
Hemos subido al Roque Nublo, impresionante. Luego la bajada, ostras. Muy bien, muy contentos. Muchas gracias por todo.
Between Garanon and Pico de las Neves, Hermansen takes control of the race, overtaking Collet, who falls to the back. Grinius is trying to pursue Hermansen, but can't keep up. Having already finished second in 2015, Hermansen used his knowledge of the track to finish the race in a record time, 13 hours and 41 minutes, beating the record set in 2015 by Grinius.
The race was really nice, as always. Gediminas is always strong. He never gives up. I had to push several times to create some space between us, and that was enough.
Pau Capel and Diego Pazos crossed the line together, sharing third place. In the women's race, Caroline Chavarot finishes 2 hours ahead of Andrea Huser.
Era un momento importante para ti, siempre y estuvo pensando mucha emoción, mucho sentimiento. ¿Cómo hemos vivido?
Je crois que j'ai assez bien géré. Je me suis quand même perdue 3 fois. Ça m'a mis un peu en colère sur le moment, mais ouais, j'ai perdu 6-7 minutes. C'est pas trop grave.
Third place goes to Uksu Fraile. Getting across the line is an amazing achievement for all the runners. Some crossing with children, friends or other runners they met along the way. The race has proven a challenge for many of the entrants, with more than 215 dropping out before the finish.